Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barak ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. عن ابن عمر قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم من تشبه بقوم فهو منهم. Narrated by Hazrat Ibn Umar, Allah be pleased with him, said the Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whoso imitated another people, leaving the way and tradition of his own community and people, would be considered one of them. Abu Dawud. Rapporté par Hazrat Ibn Umar, anhu, a déclaré le prophète d'Allah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, quiconque a imité un autre peuple, laissant les voies et les traditions de sa propre communauté et de son peuple, sera considéré comme l'un d'eux. Abu Dawud. अब्दुल्ला बिन उमर रज़ियल्लाहु ताला अन्हो बयान करते हैं कि रसूलुल्लाह सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम फरमाते थे कि जो शख्स अपनी मिल्लत और कौम का तरीक छोड़कर किसी दूसरी कौम की मुशाबिहत इख्तियार करता है और वो उसी कौम में से समझा जाएगा. This brief hadith carries a subtle psychological point, and it means that one who abandons the way and the custom of his own people and its characteristics and seeks to look like other people, it will be understood in his case that his heart has been influenced by the way and custom and tradition of the other people and has yielded to them in mental slavery. For the desire to seek resemblance with others in this manner springs from a sense of inferiority complex. A person feels that the culture and civilization and circumstances outlook of a certain people are far superior and higher than the culture and civilization and circumstances and outlook of his own community, and starts looking down upon himself in comparison with them, then falling into mental slavery begins to imitate them blindly. No doubt, therefore, that such a person would be listed as a member of the community he seeks to imitate. The Holy Prophet ﷺ has therefore, by means of this hadith, warned the Muslims against imitating the ways and culture of other communities and commanded them to adopt Islamic culture instead, believing it to be the best and highest of all other cultures and civilizations. Otherwise, they will land themselves in the worst sort of mental slavery and thus lose their distinct identity and their excellent individuality. And there is little doubt about it that mental slavery is far worse than secular slavery. A man who is a slave temporarily is no doubt a subject of the other fellow, but in spite of it, his heart and his mind are free. But one who is mentally a captive, in spite of being a free man, temporarily loses the freedom of his soul and mind, and his deeds are in no way better than those of the monkey who knows only aping or copying and dancing to the tunes of others. But it is a pity that notwithstanding these wise instructions of their Lord, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Muslims of today have taken to the worst form of slavery of the Western countries. When the British came to India, a substantial section of Muslims surrendered abjectly before their culture and betook themselves to decking themselves up with its plumage. Their beards disappeared, their dress beat a hasty retreat before the onslaught of ties and collars and goblets of wine overflowed in their feasts, and their womenfolk discarded their veils to display their alluring garments publicly. Does not all this add up to the worst form of whoso imitated the ways of others became one of them? Reflect, O ye who have eyes. It is no doubt true that there is no harm in adopting a good thing in a befitting manner. Even our Master sallallahu alaihi wasallam says in this connection, a wise saying is the lost property of the faithful, and wherever he finds it, he is most entitled to take it, for it is his property. But it does not mean that every nonsense should be adopted blindly. On the contrary, in taking to a thing, there should be two determining factors taken into consideration. One, that is, it should be, in fact, good and should not be contrary to the spirit of Islamic teachings and traditions or tradition. Two, it should not be adopted blindly in imitation, but should be thoroughly scrutinized and its pros and cons carefully weighed, and it should be adopted in a normal way. By way of example of this, which Hazrat Mirza Bashir Ahmed Anhu has explained here, that we can adopt those things of other cultures, and we shouldn't blindly like slavishly just adopt the Islamic cultures just as they are sort of just a custom, a tradition, and then we don't adopt any other dress because we think that there's only one type or one standard of dressing. There can be many benefits to other type of dress which fall into the category of Islamic dress. By giving example, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when we study the hadiths, we find out that in hadiths, the dress which he liked the most to wear was not the Arab dress, but the dress he liked most to wear was the dress of the Jews. And he said that I like to wear this dress because it covers me the most, the body the most. And so in the spirit of the Islamic spirit, it was something that he adopted because in its form, it had so much benefit, and in its essence, it was Islamic. It was that thing that would cover up and preserve the shame and the shyness that should be there, which is in the heart of a Muslim. Jazakumullah, ahsanul jazaa. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.